favourite dive site within the marine park.
Yay.
So hopefully you enjoy it as much as we do. We're in the Jackson Bight area, so previous dives that we've done here, we did Jackson's Reef and Wall, we did Anne's Attic, we did Mixing Bowl where the two sections meet. So basically you've got this sort of mini wall section, you've then got that sand channel where you get beautiful coral heads, especially here on Meadows, and then you have the top of the wall and then the drop off obviously. You are going to have Reese in the water with you on this one. You know what he looks like. So once you and your buddy are in, just descend, and we are swinging kind of weirdly. We're mainly swinging over this coral head. Sometimes it's like there, sometimes it's like there. But just descend and probably meet Reese. X marks the spot. Just basically just this section here where you can see that light blue. That's a good spot to wait for him. He'll be in as quickly as possible. There might be a touch of current, but unfortunately today there is current throughout the marine park. But Meadows is a fantastic one because there's all these coral heads that obviously we can shelter from current in. So just be mindful of positioning. That would be my top tip. And yeah, stay close to Reese, he'll be able to guide you through. Wonderful. What Reese is planning on doing is once he's in, gathered the group, he's going to make his way across the sand channel. So as always in the sand sections, we're looking for things like those head-shield sea slugs that we've mentioned before.
Those what?
Head-shield sea slugs. They kind of look like the size of a rat turd, but they're much more awesome. They're particularly pretty.
Analogy.
Yeah, choice.
Like the size of a rat turd, but they're really pretty. So if you look close, usually they're sort of a black background with sort of bluey white sort of spots and patterns to them. So they're super cool. Things like that. I have, obviously I don't want to get your hopes up too much, but this is a good spot. I've seen the leopard flatworm in the sand sections before, so you never know what you might see. They're a beautiful flatworm, really, really beautiful pattern to them. So Reese is always looking out for things like
pressure.
that. No pressure.
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were talking about hammerheads mating, man.
Yeah, leopard flat.
No, that was with
obviously things like garden eels, good spot for different rays. So southern stingrays, one of the most common ones we're going to see. Usually they have that accompanying barjack with them, but sometimes they can have quite an entourage. I'm talking barjacks, permits, hogfish. So it's pretty awesome, just cruising along, basically there for the free meal ticket. So whatever manages to escape the stingray, they dive down and eat. I don't know if I've told you before, but actually the barjacks are quite nasty. So if they don't feel like the stingray's, doing its job properly, they'll go and nip them to say, hurry up. So mean. And obviously we're always keeping our eyes out for the spotted eagle rays. We do see them from time to time in this section. They like the sand sections, they like to feed. If you do happen to see any rays really, obviously we never want to chase anything, but with the eagle rays, if you're above them in the water column, they'll feel like you're a threat. So just lower yourself down, and then please don't chase. If you chase, they're just going to go off. If you just sort of wait and chill and just watch them, they're going to gain confidence and they're more likely to stay around and possibly even come a little closer. So yeah, look out for things like that as you're going through the sand, and obviously we've already talked about hogfish. So yeah, they like to feed in the sand sections too. So lots to see while you're making your way across the sand channel. And then what Reese is going to do is he's going to make his way over to this coral head, which is over there. And throughout all of these coral heads, there's lovely little swim-throughs that you can do. They're not particularly tight and they're quite short in length. There's no particularly long ones. And there's a really lovely one that basically will bring you out into a fabulous section. So he's going to make his way through, just like any swim through, give a little distance between you and the person ahead of you, and just be mindful of fins as well. We want the last person to have his wonderful enjoyment of it as the first one. So we don't want too much of a sandstorm going on. And again, if you're not keen on swim throughs, please don't feel any peer pressure to do one. You can just go round or shallow up, it's entirely up to you. So he's going to make his way through here. And then on the other side of this coral head, there's a lovely, lovely sort of rubbly algae patch. And we have a lot of luck with pipe horse, that a few of you have seen already, and pipefish. So Reese keeps his eye out for those in that section. I saw 3 when I was here last time, actually. So that's pretty cool. Then what he's going to do is he's going to make his way towards the sort of inner wall. Reese is planning on pretty much staying in the shallows on this one. So he's going to hug the inner wall, heading in a sort of more westerly direction. So you're going to have the inner wall on your right and the sand on your left. Looking at all the nooks and the crannies along the wall here, different crustaceans. Quite a lot of spiny lobster in this section. I quite often see them out and about having a little social, so that's quite cool. And in the sand sections as well, look out for things like the pike blenny, P-I-K-E blenny. Blenny fish family, obviously, quite camouflaged. They're kind of sandy coloured, and they basically just poke their head out of the sand.
What's this?
Pike blenny.
Pike, yeah, nice.
They're quite cool.
Yeah.
Nice glacial pace as always, no need to go too fast. And then what Reese is planning on doing, obviously he'll judge the current, but what he'd like to do is he'd like to just head out through this swim through, again very short in length, just be mindful of fins, keep that distance between you and the diver ahead. And it spits you out. There's 2 that you can choose. So there's one that brings you out at 50, or there's one that brings you out at 60. So obviously it is your second dive, so max depth is 60. So do please just be mindful of that when you're exiting. And that brings you into the amphitheatre. It's basically a section of the wall that's been sort of scooped. It almost looks like it's been scooped away. So if you're theatrical like myself, you could always go into the centre and take a bow. I quite like to do that. And then once you've had your bow. And then obviously judging conditions. So if there's a strong current, then he'll probably just turn around and come back in to shelter from that. But if it's not too bad, we imagine it's going to be heading in this direction. So he's going to plan on swimming in this section just for a short while on the wall. As I said, he wants to spend most of the time in the shallows. Look for all sorts of sponges, soft corals. Good spot for neck crabs here as well, actually. I quite often see neck crabs on the wall. Big channel clinging crabs, for example. Look for the arrow blennies. I think someone's mentioned arrow blennies this week already, is that right? They're a little blenny, and they sort of bend their tail, so they almost look like an arrow.
Oh yeah, I saw those.
Yeah. And you tend to see them off the wall. They're not very big. Not even that big, really. But they're really cool, so again, if Reese sees any, he'll be sure to point one out to you. And then shallowing up, over the top of the wall again, and you're going to find yourself back in that sand channel. Depending on where he's done, sort of come out, whether he's gone back in there, or that depends on sort of how you're going to do this particular section. But he's going to make his way back in the direction of the mini wall, and actually just behind the mooring pin there's a couple of nice sized coral heads that we like to call the Lobster Hotel. Sometimes there's vacancy, sometimes it's completely full with lobsters, so worth checking out. And it's a really nice rubble section here too. I've seen resting nurse sharks in this section before. You might see the odd lionfish, particularly on Meadows. They like to hide in the nooks and the crannies within the coral heads. But it's a really beautiful dive, so we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Quick reminder, 60 feet maximum depth on this one. Oh gosh, I'm giving you 60 minutes.
Louise, I thought we were friends.